Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Justin Wilson. I'm the Executive Director of Nova Parks, the Northern Virginia Regional Park Authority, and on behalf of over 1,100 full-time, part-time, and seasonal employees, our dedicated team, I want to welcome you to the Occoquan Regional Park, which is home to the Riverview, which you are currently sitting in, at the Gene Packard Center. Nova Parks is comprised of 6 jurisdictions, including the cities of Fairfax, Falls Church, and Alexandria, and the counties of Arlington, Loudoun, and Fairfax. We operate 37 regional parks around the region, covering 12,500 acres. We are privileged enough today to be joined by representatives of all 3 levels of government, which is altogether fitting, as this facility is a testament to what is possible when government works together, collaborating for the public good. This land is owned by Fairfax County. Chairman McKay reminds me of that regularly, and leased to Nova Parks. Almost a decade ago, Nova Parks used the Virginia Pooled Financing Program, or the Virginia Resources Authority, to finance this beautiful venue that you are sitting in right now. Adjacent to this facility that you walked in right there, next to, is the last of 9 beehive brick kilns that were used by prisoners at the adjacent prison at the start of the last century. We are also adjacent to the same prison that held the Silent Sentinels in 1917. The women who picketed in front of the White House to spur passage of the 19th Amendment and give a portion of American women the right to vote. To commemorate the long struggle of suffrage for all women, 5 years ago we dedicated the Turning Point Suffragist Memorial. The memorial was also the result of unique partnerships, including donations from around the nation, large contributions from the Commonwealth and Fairfax County, and tireless volunteer efforts that continue to this day, and I think you'll figure out who those people are in a second. Included in the memorial is a fence section that was in front of the White House in 1917 when the Silent Sentinels led their protest, and statues of Alice Paul, Mary Church Terrell, and Carrie Chapman Catt. I imagine it would be hard for those suffragists to fathom that a little over a century later, when they were imprisoned and tortured on this site, we would be welcoming Her Excellency, the Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and the Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, both beneficiaries of their sacrifice, back to this site. But the work continues, which is why we are here today. So our first speakers, and we're going to hear from a number of folks, but I want to introduce the folks you will not be hearing from first. I want to introduce a number of folks who are here. We first of all have, serving us in the Congress, Eugene Vindman. We have Chairman of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, Jeff McKay. The Majority Leader of the State Senate, Scott Serba. Senator Sorrell's district we are in right now. Serving us in the House of Delegates in her district, we have Delegate Kathy Tran. Delegate Irene Shen. Delegate Vivian Watts. We have members of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors. In his district, we have Fairfax Supervisor Dan Stork. Fairfax Supervisor Jimmy Bierman. Fairfax Supervisor Rocha Sizemore Heiser. My friend, the Mayor of Harrisonburg, Mayor Dina Reed. He swam across the river a couple minutes ago, the Mayor of Occoquan, Ernie Gordon. And now I want to introduce to the podium our next 3 speakers who will be coming together, the patrons of the legislation that we will be signing here today. We are pleased to welcome Senator Jennifer Carroll Foy, representing District 33, Fairfax and Prince William, as well as Delegate Sia Price, representing the City of Newport News, District 85, and Delegate Josh Thomas, representing District 21 in Prince William County. Welcome to the stage, Senator and delegates.
All right, so good morning.
Good morning.
I am State Senator Jennifer Carroll Foy, and I represent the 33rd District, encompassing parts of Prince William and Fairfax counties. What an amazing and historic day that we have today. I can tell you that I want to give special thanks to our Lieutenant Governor, Ghazala Hashmi. I can tell you that I don't hold any grudges that she abandoned me in the state Senate. But she did entrust me with 2 bills that she fought very passionately for. And I want to say thank you for entrusting me to get it successfully over the finish line. So thank you. I also want to give a huge thanks to our first woman governor, Abigail Spanberger. I can tell you she has always been 10 toes down supporting abortion care and reproductive health care. She has been unwavering in her commitment to improving the lives and outcomes for women and families and children. And I just want to tell her thank you so much. And what an honor it is to have the first woman governor sign these historic bills today. To our other patrons, Delegate Marcia Price and Josh Thomas, I know that in this fight, sometimes you believe that you have like-minded people, or just because there are other Democrats that we're all the same, and we're not monolithic. And oftentimes you have people who want to water down bills, change policy decisions, and to know that I was standing along these 2 amazing fighters who would not bend, break, or bend the knee to anyone. That's who you want to be in the fight with, people like them. And so I am so excited to be up here at this podium today with these 2 wonderful reproductive health care and reproductive justice and freedom champions. And lastly, to all of you, to each and every last one of you, I can remember being in the hallway, seeing the tears, hearing the advocates cry. I can remember the times that we have been strategizing, talking about how we're going to reach this moment. So to the wonderful organizations, whether it is Repo Rising or Planned Parenthood or Birth in Color, the multiple other organizations and advocates and storytellers, I just want to say thank you. I stand on the shoulders of amazing women and men who came before me, who have given their lives, sweat, and tears so we can have a day like this, where we are protecting women's access to reproductive health care and abortion care, where we're moving cost sharing and co-pays from birth control and condoms, so women everywhere throughout Virginia can determine when, if, and how they want to start a family. Because in Virginia, we are the safe haven. We are the last southern state to protect access to abortion care. We are the first state to have paid family medical leave in the South. So we know you can only win with women. Let's just be clear. We get it done. We do it well. We do it right. And I'm just so excited to be in the General Assembly with amazing women in leadership and amazing patrons and some men who are on the right side as well. But I just want to say this moment is historic and monumentous, and I just want to thank all of you for everything you've done to help get us here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Delegate Sia Price, and I'm not sure, I just don't have the same energy this morning. I am tired, and it could be because of the PCOS that I've been a warrior with for the last decades of my life. It could be because this is the 3rd year that I've carried this bill, having endured 2 vetoes from a man that wouldn't know a uterus from the back of his hand. And then living in a world where this bill is even needed. Yes. A lot of us have taken for granted that the fights that our mothers and grandmothers fought would not have to be fights that we would stand here today to fight. But unfortunately, as we celebrate how beautiful that memorial is for the suffragists and the outfits that we see here today, we are at a moment where all of their work is being undermined by our federal administration. And so I do celebrate the accomplishment of our being able to protect a right that we should have already had. I do celebrate our ability to make sure that people can afford that right, and thank my co-sponsors and the work that they're doing. But I am still heartbroken at having to fight for rights that should have always been ours. So whether it's voting rights, whether it's our relationships, or whether it is the most foundational right to our bodies, we are linked in this fight together to make sure that if anyone is not free, none of us are free. And we must continue to fight until all of us is free. And so I do want to offer a few thank yous. First, I would like to thank Katie Baker and the Americans for Contraception. You know, usually when people ask me to carry bills, I figure it's because I usually don't need a microphone. But I know this time it is because I added a dimension to the fight of family planning, but also that contraception is health care. I also want to thank our leadership, Speaker Don Scott, Leader Charnel Herring, and our very own Chair, Kathy Tran, for just being there for the issues when it matters, because HB 6 was on the House priority list. And then, of course, I absolutely thank the first woman governor, who I did not have to explain what contraception is to, and I didn't even have to offer a pen. She came with her own. But people like me, who we could not leave our homes without our contraception. People like me, who when people look at me, they make certain preconceived notions. And when people see my family, we are not necessarily safe to walk around these streets. So in closing, I will just offer that as we celebrate today, each of us should leave here with a commitment to making sure that we all vote yes 3 times in November, so that we can stop having to carry these bills and finally have the rights to our relationships, to our votes, and to our bodies in the Virginia Constitution. Thank you.
Now for the speaker that looks a little different. Stupid? I will try again. Thank you. Another industry. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. Today is really, really special because I think about, just this morning, my mother's visiting from Georgia, and I can remember the stories that she told me in the 1970s, because she's 70. We won't talk about it. And knowing what that generation went through, and now that we have at the federal level such pushback and such retraction of rights, that just makes what we do here at state government so much more important, so much more powerful for people that may not even have the experiences and never will have the experiences that some of our population will have. But we love and we care and we live with all together, and we want everyone to have equal access to those rights. But just because you have a right doesn't mean that you can access it. And so that's why HB 1182, this year was so important, to make sure that contraception wasn't just available, but also affordable. And so now people can go and get contraception of all kinds, and across over the counter as well, if they have insurance, and not have to pay any onerous co-pays. And we wouldn't be here today without a lot of the organizations you heard earlier. There's one shout out I'd also like to give, and that's Secretary Munden King, who, when she was a delegate, entrusted me with the ability. She handed this off because a wonderful governor made a selection to elevate her to the administration, and she handed this bill off to me, and it was a true honor, because I came to this space already fired up to work for women's contraception and women's reproductive freedom because of my time in the Marine Corps. I served as a personnel officer where we moved people across the international chessboard, if you will. But after the Dobbs decision, I could not imagine a female Marine raising her hand, writing a blank check with her body to the Constitution, just as I did, saying, I will support and defend the Constitution, and then being ordered to go to a state after Dobbs where she became pregnant and needed to terminate that pregnancy, she would not be able to and might even die. The fact that she could die for her country in such an insidious way, in such a needless way, did not sit right with me. So when Secretary King called and said, I think you'd be great to carry this bill, I was, as my colleague across the hall likes to say, 10 toes down, to support women here in Virginia, to support reproductive freedom, and support meaningful access to contraception. Congratulations to everyone today. Let's get these bills signed.
All right. Next up, we are going to have a speaker talk to us about the importance of this legislation. Ella Stanton is a public speaker whose passion for advocacy began in her hometown of Virginia Beach, where she spoke at school board meetings against transphobic policies. This inspired her to make arguably the best choice you can make in the Commonwealth, to attend Virginia Commonwealth University. Go Rams. For political science. During her time in college, she was selected to participate in the Capital semester, where she worked under Delegate Price. Ella spoke in support of Delegate Price's Right for Contraception bill by sharing her own personal experience with ovarian cysts and how they impacted her life. She is here today to share that story with all of you, as the bill she advocated for with her story finally comes to the governor's desk for signature. Ella.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I would like to start off by thanking the amazing group of people who made it possible for me to stand up here and share my story at this pivotal moment of Virginia history. It is not lost on me the significance of this location where this historic signing is taking place, as well as the amazing team of women that have worked tirelessly to get this legislation passed. Thank you, Delegate Price, for being such a wonderful mentor and showing me what queer women can accomplish in the field of politics. To Katie Baker for finding meaning in my story and giving me a pedestal to share it. And finally, to Governor Spanberger for making the commitment to sign this legislation where over the past 2 years, it was vetoed each time it hit the former governor's desk. The people have spoken, and for the first time, Virginia is listening. Though it was over 100 years ago that women were granted the right to vote, our fight for equity is not over. And today, we take a step closer to that equity being codified. Contraception is a fundamental right for all Virginia citizens, and I'm here to share why, for me, this bill is more than just a symbolic step forward. When I was 16, I experienced pain that I had never felt before. I was a gymnast in high school, and one evening before practice, I was lying in bed and couldn't get up. I was writhing in pain. I had no idea why. My mom even worried my appendix might have ruptured because of how much pain I was in. For years, I struggled with this seemingly unknown pain until I learned it was being caused by ovarian cysts. Ovarian cysts, in my case, are caused by a hormonal imbalance in my body, which also contributes to painful menstruation and intense pain. I was bedridden for half the month, as 2 out of 4 phases of my menstrual cycle were heavily painful. My doctor prescribed birth control to help me manage this debilitating condition, as hormonal birth control helps regulate hormones throughout your entire cycle. This past spring, I graduated a year early from Virginia Commonwealth University with the distinction of summa cum laude. I am so grateful I was able to graduate early with such high academic standing, but I wouldn't have been able to do so if I was stuck in my apartment from the pain. Without contraception, I would not be able to go to class, work a job, or live my life like any other student. Unfortunately, my experience isn't unique. While the right to start a family should belong in the hands of a woman and her body, millions of people rely on contraception for reasons that have nothing to do with preventing pregnancy. Contraception is healthcare, and it can be used to treat conditions like ovarian cysts, endometriosis, and severe menstrual pain. For many Virginians, like me, this victory brings peace of mind. It means knowing that something so important to our health and our futures is written into state law. This win sends an important message. Decisions about contraception belong to individuals and their doctors, not the government. For people my age, that reassurance means a lot. We're planning our futures, finishing school, starting careers, and figuring out where life will take us. Knowing that the right to contraception is safeguarded in state law helps us feel more secure about those plans. For me, the right to contraception means having control over my life. I am so proud that our state took this important step to ensure that we have autonomy not only over our bodies, but our futures. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella, for your inspiring words. All right, our next speaker is the Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Ghazala Haji.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here, and I just want to thank many, many people in the room, but first and foremost, my colleagues in the House and Senate, not just the patrons who you've already heard from, but from all of the colleagues who have championed and supported and ensured the passage of this bill, as you heard from Delegate Cia Price, the 3 years in a row. So it's taken a while for us. And thank you to so many of the folks who have been instrumental in getting us to where we are. And I hope I get everyone names correctly, and if I've left anyone out, my apologies, but certainly, as you've heard, Katie Baker and our Americans for Contraception, thank you for the extraordinary work you've done for these past several years. Thank you to Planned Parenthood, to Repro Rising, to Birth in Color, to Latina Institute for Reproductive Justice, ACLU, Red, Wine, and Blue. I got a rhyme in there. And to all of our strong professionals from the medical community who have stood side by side in fighting for this legislation, and also to our League of Women Voters who have been so instrumental in making sure that we are fighting for rights for everybody in the ways that we must. Just want to say thank you to Ella. You know, if you haven't read Ella's eloquent op-ed in defense of the right to contraception, please look it up. She is a strong voice, and your voice carries such power, Ella, and we've heard that again today, so thank you. I was so delighted to I was honored to carry this legislation, especially working closely with my dear friend, Delegate Cia Price. And over the past 2 years, not only did we deliver this bill to former Governor Glenn Youngkin's desk, but we also hand-delivered well over 70,000 signatures of Virginians each year to his office, signatures of Virginians who literally asked him that he sign this legislation for the health and the well-being of all his constituents. And now I'm so proud that I get to stand beside a governor who does understand what this legislation means. So thank you, Governor Spanberger. Everyone who's worked on this legislation has faced their share of skeptics and faced snickers from those who challenge the necessity of us in Virginia to assure that we have a right to contraception. These skeptics don't want to acknowledge the fact that as soon as the Dobbs decision came down, other forms of medical reproductive health care were also at risk. And throughout the country, we've seen a long and sustained campaign to confuse the public and to obfuscate the fact that reproductive care is essential health care, as you heard from other speakers already. We face numerous challenges. The very definition of contraception is at risk as we see legislation seeking to redefine what contraception is. And at the state level, we've seen the introduction of legislation that would prohibit health clinics at public colleges and universities from counseling and from dispensing emergency contraception. Texas has banned coverage of abortion services and emergency contraceptives from state-funded family planning programming, and that's been in place for well over a decade now. And just weeks ago, we just saw in North Carolina the introduction of House Bill 1232, which seeks to classify abortion as first-degree murder, and which allows citizens, or rather vigilantes, I should say, vigilantes to use deadly force against a pregnant individual. These same individuals are seeking to classify certain contraceptives and IUDs as abortive medications and devices. And with the current administration in Washington, we don't have any real assurance that Trump's FDA will not reclassify contraception as tools of abortion. So yes, this legislation is absolutely essential. It is medical care, it is medical treatment that protects lives and treats health and well-being and ensures that Virginia's leadership is in a position to do the right thing that the constituents have been asking. So thank you to everyone who's made this day possible. And now it's my great honor to introduce the 75th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Her Excellency Abigail Spanberger.
Madam Lieutenant Governor. And thank you to everyone for joining us here today for what is an important day. This beautiful setting here, it's not just a backdrop, it's a reminder. It's a reminder of the women who were imprisoned right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia for demanding the right to vote. They did not stop. They did not accept the answers they were given along the way. They kept going until the law caught up with what was fundamentally right. And that is what we are doing here today. And it is fitting to do it here. And it is fitting that we do it at this moment in our history. Because in the years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, states across the country have moved at a blistering pace to restrict access to women's health care. This is especially true with reproductive health care, abortion services, fertility treatments, and yes, contraception, and yes, medicine, that while it can prevent pregnancy, medicine that is vitally important, doctor prescribed to contend with a whole variety of ailments and illnesses that are created due to hormonal imbalances. And let's speak plainly about what is going on as a result of these policies in other states. Women facing medical emergencies are being turned away. Some of them are dying. And this is a reality of what some women in other states are facing. But in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have not gone down that road. In fact, Virginia is the only state in the South, as Senator Carol Foy noted, the only state in the South where a woman has the same freedom to make her own healthcare decisions today that she did before the Dobbs decision. And today we are making sure that that's not just a matter of political circumstance, it has to be a matter of law. Because it's not for lack of trying that we still are where we are. It's because of legislators who stood up to efforts in Richmond to put us on the same path as other states. And today, we are taking a step forward because we know decisions about reproductive care, they are deeply personal and they belong to the individuals making their own decisions. They do not belong with politicians, not with government officials, and they certainly do not belong to whomever happens to be in the governor's office any given year. Now, I am truly honored to be the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and especially the governor who signs these bills into law. But if we're being honest, this ceremony could have happened a couple of years ago. Because when my predecessor vetoed legislation that would have ensured access to health care over and over, bills with bipartisan support, bills backed by doctors, nurses, and the overwhelming majority of Virginians across the political spectrum, that was denying the will of the people, and importantly, it was endangering the health of women across our Commonwealth. And that is precisely why, when I ran for this office, I made a promise to the citizens of this Commonwealth: when I am governor, I will sign the Right to Contraception Act into law. And today we're keeping that promise. So I know the patrons spoke about what these bills do. The Right to Contraception, patroned by Senator Jennifer Carroll Foy and Delegate Sia Price. This bill legally establishes that every person has the right to obtain contraceptions, and that no law, regulation, or policy can stand in the way. That includes IUDs, emergency contraception, oral contraception, and every other FDA-approved method. What's more, it gives individuals the right to take legal action if that access is threatened, and it gives the Attorney General the power to make sure that these protections are carried out. In other words, it's not merely symbolic, it's enforceable. And as we heard from Delegate Price, and as we heard from Ella Stanton, this isn't just about contraception and preventing pregnancy. This is about ensuring that women with a variety of illnesses, particularly PCOS, that they have access to the care that their doctors want them to have. The other bill we're signing today is the Contraceptive Equality Act, patroned by Senator Jennifer Carroll Foy and Delegate Josh Thomas. And this bill goes further. It requires health insurance plans to cover contraception, including the over-the-counter options, without cost sharing. No deductibles standing between a Virginian and their medication or contraception. And that last part is vitally important because, as we all know, costs for healthcare and prescription medications continue to rise. 1 in 5 insured women of reproductive age has had to stop using a contraceptive method because she couldn't afford it. Make no mistake, that means people not getting the doctor-prescribed medication that their doctor asserts they need. It's also an issue of economic mobility. Research shows that when women have access to birth control and can decide if and when to start a family, they stay in school longer. They enter the workforce earlier. They earn higher wages, and most importantly, they have choices over their lives and the trajectory of their families. For Virginia families already contending with the cost of housing and energy and healthcare, the ability to plan a family is not separate from economic stability. It is an integral part. And the ability to afford the medication you need is central to it. Today's bill signing exemplifies what states need to do as we continue to navigate the landscape after the Dobbs decision. While Virginia is acting, Congress still hasn't passed federal protections, and I know you're trying, Congressman Bennett. Keep trying. So Virginia families can't wait. What we are doing today is proof that states can meet this moment. And before I sign these bills, I would like to remind, as Delegate Price did, remind all Virginia voters that we can enshrine reproductive freedom in our state's constitution this November so that no future governor, no future legislature can unilaterally take these rights away. And we are also, as a Commonwealth, ready to take our opportunity through voting yes to enshrine the right to vote and the right to marry the person you love. Today's legislation builds a strong foundation, but the constitutional amendment makes it permanent. Once again, thank you so much to all of the advocates who have testified year after year, to the legislators who have carried these bills, to the legislators who have voted for these bills, and to the Virginians who have shared their own stories to move this forward. Thank you for being brave enough to stand forward, to tell your story, and to make clear why this legislation is important. And And to every Virginian who might be worried about whether their access to birth control is safe, whether their insurance will cover it, or whether some future politician might take their rights away, Virginia has your back. So let's get these bills signed.
Local elected, you all may come.
SB 596 was patroned by Senator Jennifer Carroll Floyd, who I believe has left to go to the court for her job. But we are going to celebrate signing this bill all the same. This is the Right to Contraception Act. It establishes in Virginia law that every person has the right to obtain contraceptives, prohibiting any institutional restriction on the access, giving Virginians the legal tools that they need to defend that access as well. SB 361, patroned by Senator Jennifer Carroll Foy, and its companion, HB 1182, requires health insurance carriers to provide coverage for contraceptive drugs and devices approved by the FDA, including those available over the counter. HB 6, patroned by Delegate Sia Price. This is the legislation that will protect Virginians' access to contraception and the vital medicines their doctors prescribe for them. HB 1182, patroned by Delegate Josh Thomas, is the companion legislation to SB 361, provides critical coverage to patients and family who need it.
you all for joining us this morning or afternoon. I don't know what time it is. That concludes our formal programming. Thank you again.